And now, First Warn 5 weather with meteorologist Andrew Chung.
Welcome back, everyone. We had a nice cool start this morning with low temperatures in the mid-60s here in Weslaco. And yes, it was warm this afternoon, but at least not too humid thanks to winds continuing from the north to northeast. And it's going to be pretty nice once again for tonight. We've seen mostly sunny skies for this afternoon. Look at the temperatures right now. We are in the mid-80s in Raymondville, mid-80s in Port Isabel, mid-80s in Brownsville, upper 80s here at the station and in Harlingen. We're in the mid-90s in McAllen and lower 90s in Edinburgh and Rio Grande City. And take a look at the winds right now out of the north to northeast between 9 to 20 miles an hour. We have a gust of 22 in Brownsville and 28 miles an hour in Port Isabel. So enjoy tonight, folks. We're down to 83 at 7 p.m. A warm but dry start at 7 p.m. with mostly sunny skies. Back to the upper 70s at 9 p.m. Mostly clear, down to 73 degrees at 11 o'clock this evening. Over the next couple of days, those high temperatures will start to warm up. Here are the latest numbers on Hurricane Irma as of the 4 p.m. Central Time Advisory. It was a Category 2 hurricane with maximum winds of 110 miles an hour just to the southeast of Fort Myers, Florida. That's in southwest Florida. Irma moving to the north at 14 miles an hour. So earlier today, around 9 o'clock Eastern time, Irma made landfall in the lower Florida Keys. And then earlier this afternoon, Irma made a second landfall in Marco Island in southwest Florida. Here's the official forecast track from the Hurricane Center. Expected to take a jog up the coast, the west coast of Florida, heading toward the Tampa Bay area later tonight and tomorrow morning. It should weaken to a Category 1 hurricane by the time it gets to Tampa Bay, but still a powerful storm. And the problem is that Irma is a very big storm. So even though that forecast cone is away from the east coast of Florida, Miami, Daytona Beach, Jacksonville, all getting pounded by those rains and the winds thanks to this hurricane. There's the forecast track. Irma weakening to a tropical storm over North Florida, including Tallahassee, and then moving into Georgia later this week, perhaps into Alabama, Mississippi, then Tennessee, weakening to a low pressure system, remnant low later on, moving into parts of the Midwestern U.S. So here's the radar imagery of Irma. You can see some very heavy rains now moving through central and still South Florida. And there's the eye wall. The most destructive winds are shown in the reds and yellows around that eye. So Fort Myers is about to get hit by that eye wall. It is actually, as it's moving to the northwest. Some of those rain bands still moving through Miami. Very bad situation in the Florida Keys because the eye passed through and made landfall early this morning in the lower Florida Keys. And we'll pan up here. You can see the heaviest rains or heavy rains also in Port Charlotte, just north of Fort Myers on Interstate 75. We'll zoom over here. You can see heavy rains now moving between Fort Pierce, Florida, and Melbourne on the east coast of Florida. So very soggy for I-95. Kennedy Space Center getting some of those rain bands, as well as Orlando, including at Disney World. And more of those rains heading toward Tampa and St. Petersburg. And this will continue for tonight into tomorrow. So just a very nasty situation for all of the state of Florida. Hurricane warnings continue for the Florida Peninsula. Now, we still have Hurricane Jose. It is a Category 3 hurricane with maximum winds of 120 miles an hour, moving to the northwest at 16 miles an hour. Jose is expected to stay over the open Atlantic waters, but look at this. The Hurricane Center thinks Jose will make this loop-the-loop over the next few days, maybe heading back toward the west. Still a lot of uncertainty with the forecast track for Jose. On the water here in the valley, small craft advisory is in effect for the offshore Gulf waters. Small craft should use caution for the nearshore Gulf waters. We'll have winds out of the northeast and north at 10 to 20 knots, and the bay waters are moderate chop. Your next tide is a high tide at 8:23 p.m., and the seas are 5 to 9 feet. So for tonight, nice night, folks. Mostly clear down to 66 degrees. Then for tomorrow, 91 degrees, mainly sunny and warm. Now, the temperatures will start to rise during the day for this week, back to 98 degrees Wednesday and Thursday, and the humidity returns by Thursday. So enjoy the next 3 days because we're down to 67 degrees Tuesday morning and 68 for Wednesday morning.